Brazilian beast Paulo Costa has just revealed how the UFC tried to pressurize him into taking the fight against Whittaker at 284. The middleweight sensation claims the promotion tried to get him to sign a multi-fight deal when all he wanted was just a matchup against the Aussie. Costa also shared some really disturbing things about the negotiations and how the promotion tried throwing him under the bus. Keep watching this video for more on the story. First up, the main event in Perth. It seems like Paulo Costa was right, guys. His battle against former middleweight champion Robert Whittaker has been called off after Costa and the UFC failed to reach a conclusion. Word is, the Brazilian wanted a beefier contract with more money to show and win, but the UFC wasn't too keen on giving him what he wanted. They did offer him a new contract, but it was a multi-fight deal worth somewhere in the $500,000 region. Costa was okay with the money, but it was the number of fights that bothered him. While making an appearance on the MMA Hour, the Eraser said he was a bit annoyed with how the UFC kept talking about 6 fights. Why you bring 6 fights in? I'm talking about that one, to fight Whittaker, not 6 more. It doesn't make sense to me. Paulo revealed how negotiating a contract for multiple fights was the same mistake he made back in 2017. He signed the contract, but as he climbed the ranks and starred in some massive fights against really big names, he made the same money. Think of it this way, he wasn't selling out arenas or anything when he signed that contract back in 2017, but after going up against guys like Yoel Romero and Israel Adesanya, the Costa we now know had arrived. The fans loved him and he brought in a lot of business for the UFC, the only drawback being he wasn't making more money. And since his bout against Whittaker at UFC 284 was a main event fight, he wanted main event money too. Next, why did Dana announce the fight? If Costa and the UFC were in a standoff, why did Uncle Dana schedule and announce the fight? Why not just match Whittaker against someone else instead of announcing a fight that's still in the works? Well, the Eraser actually has a theory for that, and if we're being honest, we sort of agree with him. He thinks the UFC announced the fight to build pressure and get him to sign a multi-fight contract. But credit to Costa for not messing around about the fight even once. He's been calling it a fake fight since day one and even told Whittaker to not get too excited since he hasn't signed a contract. The former title contender also shared some really disturbing things about how the UFC has a habit of exploiting Brazilian fighters. Maybe they think, those in Brazil. They live in the jungle. They don't need real money because the currency is like 5 times less than dollars. It's a bold claim, but when you look back at how even a legend like Anderson Silva had problems with promotion, Costa might just be right. Uncle Dana and the UFC's main negotiator, Hunter Campbell, are both quiet as everyone waits for an official statement from the promotion. Whittaker shared a video on Twitter, and he was really upset with the whole episode and even advised the Eraser to just shut up and take the deal. If you ask us, we think he did the right thing here. The UFC can't keep getting away with hardball negotiations, leaving fighters with peanuts. Moving on, $500,000 for Whittaker. Paulo Costa is still open to the idea of fighting Robert Whittaker, but it'll take a lot more than a multi-fight deal. He wants $500,000 for a single fight against the Aussie, and that's it. He doesn't want 4 or 5 fights, he just wants 1. And after that's done, he'll be a free agent with the option of making a lot more money in the world of exhibition boxing or some other fighting promotion. But until then, he's still under a UFC contract with 1 fight left. We don't know about the specifics, but there's this sunset clause that only allows the promotion to keep him for a certain period of time until he's released. So even if they don't give him a fight, he'll probably be a free agent by 2023. If Uncle Dana is serious about that last fight, then he better be prepared to give him a big fat paycheck. He's still waiting to fight Whittaker or anyone for that matter, but like we said before, it's going to cost the UFC a cool $500,000. Despite the holdup, Costa believes the UFC could easily fix a fight if they were willing to bend a little more, but since Campbell is known for his take-it-or-leave-it negotiation style, the Brazilian fighter seems to be in limbo right now. Honestly speaking, we don't think there's any coming back from here. The UFC has clearly spoiled its relationship with the fighter, and it's highly likely he'll be released in March without getting a fight. Now for breaking down the new contract. You're probably wondering though, a $500,000 multi-fight contract doesn't really sound that bad, right? Well, let's break it down for you. Costa claims he's making $70,000 right now, and it's another $70,000 on top if he wins. And considering how he's only lost 2 fights in a total of 16 appearances, he deserves way more. And while $500,000 for 6 fights seems like a lot, it's only $13,000 more than what he's currently making. Let's put that into perspective now. He's fighting Robert Whittaker, a former champion, who's at the top of the rankings for a guaranteed sum of $83,000. We're not gonna lie, that's a little embarrassing. It just goes to show you how the UFC's top priority still remains business and not taking care of their fighters. And we get how a business needs to be good for things to work, but $83,000 for a fighter who's only lost 2 fights his entire career? That's just sad. He fought Adesanya, Romero, and Rockhold all for $70,000, and that too to escape the terrible contract. And now when he wants a new one, the UFC is only willing to offer him a tiny bump of $13,000 per fight. It's only being reported he had a fallout with his manager, Waleed Ismail, who kept trying to convince him to take the deal. It was Waleed who got him the 2017 deal, and Costa would be a fool to listen to him the second time around. Following up, he's going to take the fight. Robert Whittaker was furious when he first heard his fight against the Eraser had been called off because of some contractual issues. He hopped on Twitter and shared a video talking about how literally no one at the UFC is happy with their contract and that Costa should have taken the fight. But despite all the last-minute drama, Whittaker still believes Paulo will take the fight. Why he believes that is beyond us, because after hearing everything the Brazilian had to say, we don't even think he's going to fight again. Bobby Knuckles said the UFC is trying to find him a fight for March, but he's still positive Costa will step up in February. The only chance of that happening is if Uncle Dana offers him a new contract, and that doesn't look too likely at this point. And with Costa clearly in the rearview mirror, what's next for Whittaker? Who's he going to fight now? Jared Cannonier, Khamzat Chimaev, or the mighty Alex Pereira? Only time will tell, but the last opponent is particularly favorable for him since it's the chance at reclaiming lost gold. If the UFC is unable to find him an opponent, and the idea of an immediate rematch between Adesanya and Alex doesn't sell, Bobby Knuckles might just end up getting a shot at the middleweight title. The Aussie thinks a matchup against the current champion is a much better bout than Israel Adesanya since their fighting styles are significantly different. Izzy is a defensive striker, whereas Pereira doesn't mind stepping into the line of fire. Whittaker loves taking on an aggressive fighter. Up next, the change he needed at the top. We know it sounds really exciting, but the chances of Whittaker fighting Alex are very slim right now. The last style bender has ruled the division for so long now, and it's only fair he gets an immediate rematch for the title, right? And when you look at how he pretty much dominated the Putin throughout the fight, it's possible he might just end up winning back the belt. But the fans aren't too hyped to see them square off again. This was the 3rd time Izzy lost to Alex Pereira, and we don't know about you, but 3 times is enough. We'd like to watch them fight again, because like we said, Izzy came super close to beating him, but imagine how things would be if he lost the 4th time around as well. That wouldn't be too good for his legacy, would it? But who knows? Whittaker versus Pereira might end up happening, since the Aussie needs a new opponent. But there's another matchup that would get everyone talking. What if Khamzat moved up a weight division to take on Whittaker before getting his shot at whoever holds the title? Interesting, right? Khamzat has all the bargaining power right now since he's undefeated and has a cult-like following. But whether he's willing to sacrifice a go at the welterweight title for Robert Whittaker is doubtful. Guess we'll just have to wait and see how things play out. Last but not least, what's next for Costa? It's time everyone said goodbye to Costa since we probably won't be seeing him fight inside the cage again. There are an odd 3 months left before his contract expires, and it's going to be very difficult negotiating a contract and setting a fight in that much time. He did say it would be much easier if the UFC was willing to bend a little, but with that not happening, we'll probably be seeing him at a different promotion or in an exhibition boxing match the next time he fights. That's it from our side, folks. So what do you think? Could Costa do the right thing by not signing a multi-fight deal with the UFC? And who will Whittaker fight next? Let us know in the comments below. Remember, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos in the future. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.